Well, it's the weekend. That's the time we all go out to the movies, I guess, most of us. And somebody has to go there before the rest of us and warn us away from the bad stuff and lure us towards the good stuff. And we let that happen right here with Michael Snyder. Hi, Michael.
Well, howdy, Alex, and how are things?
No, I'm just peachy, I guess.
Hey, yeah. I'll tell you what, I love being in California and living in San Francisco and L.A., both cities, and in Los Angeles right now, where I had the opportunity to see a movie that's all about the destruction of California. That had to make me feel good. Well, kind of.
Yeah, they always like destroying either California or New York. So in either case, I feel bad.
Yeah. I know. Anyway. You've got a soft spot for both regions, and I have to say, San Andreas, which is the big disaster movie that's opening across this great nation this weekend, not as big a disaster as it could have been. I mean, it's the inevitable quake and destruction slamming California, both north and south, an equal opportunity earthquake, by the way. And this is your basic special effects laden blockbuster. And in this case, it stars Dwayne Johnson as a fire and rescue expert who's resourceful in any circumstance. His estranged wife is played by Carla Gugino, adorable, and the scientist who figures out a way to kind of predict earthquakes a little too close to when they're about to happen, I might add, Paul Giamatti. So, solid cast. And you also get Alexandra Daddario as their hot but resourceful daughter in peril, who's trying to survive in San Francisco with her potential new beau and his little brother. And, of course, all that was missing was an imperiled puppy. Ioan Gruffudd is Gugino's wealthy, feckless fiancé because, mom and dad, Dwayne and Carla's characters are estranged, but, who knows? Disaster may bring them together. This is your popcorn movie to the max. Cliched, special effects everywhere. And, the bar keeps getting raised for them, and things get realer or more super real in this case. And they're used to good effect. And, it's an equal opportunity destroyer. Both Los Angeles and San Francisco get wholly trashed. And I have to say that it makes Earthquake, one of the original disaster movies, look like a stroll down Main Street on a breezy day. I think maybe Dodger fans were behind the movie because they showed the gem of Major League Baseball, AT&T Park, being slammed by the quake Candlestick style. And having been at Candlestick during the famous earthquake of 1989, you would think I might have gotten a little chilled or nervous, but I was just angry that they tore down the Juan Marichal statue in this movie. Maybe as revenge or something. I'm sure Dodger fans were behind this. Anyway, it's not as bad as you would think. Let's put it that way. Popcorn movie. Let's call it that. And Brad Payton directed kind of a hack. He's done some crap like the second reboot, Journey to the Center of the Earth, or whatever it was called, Journey to the Mysterious Island. A pretty terrible film. This is at least considerably better than that. Aloha is a disaster, another kind of disaster. This is a romantic comedy written and directed by Cameron Crowe of Almost Famous and We Bought a Zoo and other movies, and it features a fantastic cast. This is set amid the modern military in Hawaii, and we have Bradley Cooper and Emma Stone, Rachel McAdams, Bill Murray, John Krasinski, Danny McBride, Alec Baldwin. How could this be bad? Well, convoluted in so many plot details and a mess in terms of clear-cut characterizations and motivations. I mean, the script is like a charm-challenged wreck. A sort of former military whiz kid who's now an intermediary between the government and corporations, played by the Bradley Cooper character, returns to Hawaii where his ex still lives, and it's been 13 years, and she now has a new husband and 2 kids, and he's being the kind of shepherded around by a very by-the-book, eager beaver captain played by Emma Stone. McAdams is the ex-wife or ex-girlfriend. She's pretty wonderful. Bill Murray is sort of a kind of a corporate superstar type, kind of Sumner Redstone meets Mark Zuckerberg, only older, and he's got to deal with the government. Look, Only the professional gloss of the dialogue, the direction, the cinematography, all the needle drops. That's all that made it work. I mean,
I'll tell you something, though, that I found out about this picture. It was made before Bradley Cooper did American Sniper. This picture has got to be in the can for about the last 2 years, which means that it escaped more than it was released.
But that is very fair. Amy Pascal, I did a little research afterwards because I was like, what the hell's wrong with this? I mean, you get this unexplained weird love triangle with a fourth party. You get the bizarre and vague relationship between this digital media mogul and the army. I learned that it was originally going to feature Ben Stiller, I assume in the Bradley Cooper role. And I don't know whether she would have played the eager beaver young Air Force pilot or the ex-girlfriend, but Reese Witherspoon was attached, and there were conflicts. And this is like 2008 maybe, and it didn't roll.
Yeah, this film's been in the can for a long time, which means they didn't even know whether they were going to release it or not. But I think based on Bradley Cooper's popularity lately, they decided to release it, which maybe Bradley Cooper isn't that happy about.
And Emma Stone, she's kind of on a roll. Cameron Crowe was actually at the screening I was at the other day, and he kind of did a lot of, hey, don't believe what you read, because the Amy Pascal leaks about the movie are devastating. And Crowe called it a love letter to Hawaii, but it's more like a scribbled series of non sequiturs.
Yeah.
Individual scenes are cool. Nothing really hangs together, and there are so many weird, unexplained things. If you want to see a more straightforward love letter to a special place, see if you can find Whit Stillman's The Cosmopolitan's pilot for Amazon, which is a lovely kind of talky and kind of still moments about Paris. I mean, that's a love letter to a geographical area that
I liked it, but girlfriend hated it. Just hated it.
Yeah, I like his stuff. I like Whit Stillman. Anyway, Barely Lethal is another disappointment. Oh my God, we're batting triple zeros here.
Okay, we'll get through this one fast if it's bad.
I will. Hey, look, I really loved Kingsman, the Secret Service. And this is an attempt to do kind of a weird version of that sort of secret agency, only with teenage female orphans being trained to be special ops agents. Haley Steinfeld, who's a good actress, wants out. And her boss, played again by Sam Jackson. Sam Jackson plays the kind of quasi-heavy in this, like he did in Kingsman, although he's in charge of these special ops kids. He wants to find her, and she wants to have a normal life in a high school environment, so she runs away. You got Jessica Alba as kind of a nemesis, Sophie Turner as one of the fellow agents, Sophie Turner from Game of Thrones. It was like an ABC after-school special, I swear to God. Heaven Knows What. It blends fact and fiction, formalism, new verite. It's about a young heroin addict played by Arielle Holmes who finds love and drugs in the streets of New York, and it's based on her soon-to-be published memoir. It's very raw, very wild. The filmmakers Josh and Benny Safdie do a pretty great job with this thing. It's well done, seriously bleak, and maybe a little indulgent, but this is an unflinching look at the underbelly of society in New York. And everybody kind of delivers. I think in a lot of cases, they're for real. I know that Holmes is the real deal. So if you want to watch a junkie girl on a ramble through New York, this is your stop. Get off right here. Caleb Landry Jones plays a character in this. He's from X-Men First Class, so it's some actors, some real actors, but a lot of real street kids in this thing. Results was a comedic diversion about two mismatched personal trainers whose lives are upended by the actions of a new rich client. And in this case, what a benefit to have Guy Pearce and Kobe Smulders play the couple and Kevin Corrigan as the client. I rather enjoyed this film. It's a little film. It doesn't have a great reach, but the reach doesn't exceed its grasp. And I enjoyed it. Really, writer-director Andrew Bujalski, took on a little bit of an assignment here to make something like this engaging and did it. So more power to him. Gemma Bovary is a really wonderful and clever take on yet another graphic novel by Posey Simmons, who is a writer and artist from England who did a version of Far From the Madding Crowd that she called it Tamara Drew, which is a cool cool movie and a very cool book. And in this case, she took on Flaubert's Madame Bovary, and this thing stars Gemma Arterton, Fabrice Lucchini, and Jason Fleming, and it basically is life imitating art in bizarre ways when the character of Gemma and her husband move to a Normandy village where, it's just a very, very cool film. Gemma Bovary, I would say seek it out. There are subtitles, but it's in English as well. And Fabrice Lucchini is just a fantastic French character actor who is in his sweet spot here. The director, Anne Fontaine, has done some very cool films in the past, including The Girl from Monaco. So, again, I am a Francophile, but I enjoyed this. And now I'd like to take care of a little house cleaning here. Tomorrowland. I love director Brad Bird. He's the guy who did The Iron Giant and The Incredibles. And he's done this highly anticipated, was highly anticipated.
Well, he basically can do no wrong, so far as I'm concerned. I mean,
yeah, agreed. I mean, he did my favorite of the Mission Impossible films, Ghost Protocol, and this movie.
But we have to remember he's an animator before he's anything.
And Damon Lindelof, I think, wrote the original script. The guy who co-created Lost, and sometimes has come up with some serious clinkers.
Yeah.
But
anyway, Tomorrowland.
This case is a very provocative, ostensibly, a provocative film about an other dimensional refuge created by history's most brilliant scientists and thinkers. And the key to access to this thing is a pin, or so you would think. So promising, frequently stunning on the visual side, ultimately disappointing. High aspirations here, and the Disney product placement and historical references are like simultaneously clever and distracting. They put a lot of thought into it, and we've already seen movies based on Disneyland attractions, The Haunted Mansion, and more famously Pirates of the Caribbean, and now we have Tomorrowland. And I wonder what's next. The movie spun out of Space Mountain or the Teacup Ride. I mean, there are fantastic, vivid, jaw-dropping action sequences, but what comes in between is like this half-baked inspirational jibber-jabber. I mean, I love retro future stuff, and the future imagined in the past. And so we get a sequence in the World's Fair where the young version of George Clooney's character is inspired and kind of discovers this otherworldly place, this utopian ideal. But there are internal consistencies and vague explanations and quasi-science addressed with this sort of hand-wavium. And it's not consistently funny, and there's not a lot of great emotional impact. But there is a young actress named Raffi Cassidy who steals the film. I mean, Britt Robertson as the young girl who's caught up in the Tomorrowland world today and meets the George Clooney character who's become kind of a cynic. They're good. But Raffi Cassidy steals the movie. You get a little Oz, a little AI, a little things to come, and you get a little Lost, which means a lot of third act problems. So I blame Lindelof for why it doesn't work. I just didn't get swept away by it. And Bird is a great filmmaker. I mean, three of the finest animation
Bird also was one of the writers on this, too.
Yeah, so he's partially culpable, but I wonder who was the real culprit here, because all of his stuff prior to this, including Mission Impossible, Ghost Protocol, and Ratatouille, fantastic. And I was numbed by this. And maybe I'll get something out of it on a second viewing. Hugh Laurie plays kind of the heavy in here. I don't know. I don't know when I'll ever get a chance to watch it again, but I'm very curious to hear what you have to say when you see this movie about a former boy genius and this bright, optimistic teen.
Okay.
Breaks my heart. Let me wrap up quickly. When Marnie Was There is a touching and lovely feature, an animated movie from Studio Ghibli, the guys who did Spirited Away fame, not made by Hayao Miyazaki, they're Disney, but made by some talented people. And this is about a young girl who's sent to the country for health reasons, and she finds a friend there with whom she has a strange tie. And again, touching and lovely. A little bit on the wispy side, but beautiful as usual. And it's got Western source material, a novel by Joan Robinson, but it's set in Japan. And great to see it with the original Japanese voice cast, which I had a chance to do, since they clearly, wanted to relocate the story to the country of Studio Ghibli's origin. I thought it was great. They just do beautiful, beautiful movies. They always have. And they continue to do so.
So is that is that it?
Yeah, that's it. When Marnie Was There. And if you got anything on your end, let me know, buddy.
No, I'm just watching TV a lot,
Anything?
We went and saw Mad Max, and girlfriend loved it. Just loved it. And I loved it too. I thought it was just a great picture. I mean, he really showed the young guys how to make a movie like that. It's a great film. Great film.
I agree. May I recommend that you watch on video if you get a chance? Far from the Madding Crowd, which is still in theaters. The latest version of
I'll pass on that.
Oh my God, it's a wonderful version of the story.
Even girlfriend, who for her this is the kind of picture she loves. She doesn't even want to see it. So
They do a beautiful job. Carrie Mulligan is the lead heroine.
Yeah.
Look, I recommend it. I just thought I'd throw that out there.
On television, I'm just telling people you got to watch Happy-ish. It is just wonderful. It is brilliant. It's a brilliant TV show.
It's sharp and it's mean, and I like that.
Yeah.
And it's also very naturalistic in the dialogue amongst the adults, particularly, and the way they talk back and forth.
It's an exceptional show. And, of course, my latest favorite, which is iZombie. So, yeah.
No, I'm glad you're liking that. A quick note for those who don't know, Steve Coogan, the fine British comic actor, stars in Happy-ish and replaced the late Philip Seymour Hoffman, who was actually slated to play the role of the...
well, they were going to cancel the whole series, and then they came up with an acceptable replacement for Hoffman. And now that I see Coogan in it, I can't imagine Hoffman doing it, so...
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it really would fit him, and he is a terrific actor. Right. But it's basically about a middle-aged man's progress in a new in modern society and life.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you, Michael. Tell them where they can find you.
Check me out on Twitter at Culture Blaster, one word, and on Facebook at Michael Snyder's Culture Blast page. Like it, link to stuff, listen to Alex and I talk if you want. And we'll see you next time.
Okay, thank you, Michael. And that's it for this week, ladies and gentlemen. Michael Snyder's Culture Blast. Stay tuned for some of our other fine programming right here on GabNet.